So a few times now I've asked all of you, which is the best ice monster? And everybody always seems to say Zamtrios. Well, I finally met the boy. And Volcana is still the best. Welcome back, classy crew, to another 4U Journal as I journey through all of Monster Hunter 4U on a quest to defeat every Fatalis. And that quest is still... because I'm still in low rank, playing around with finding new monsters, discovering new mini games, playing with the Monster Hunters, which, how is that not a franchise staple? The Monster Hunters should be in every installment of this game. This is such a cool, this is peak pun humor on, in the Palico world, in freaking Capcom's, just give me more Monster Hunters. Heck, make a spin-off game. It works, even if it's a mobile game. I don't care. Give me a match 3 mobile game called Monster Hunters and I will play it. So anyways, you guys came here to talk about, see my impressions about Zamtrios, and I'm finally happy I got to fight him. He is such a cool monster. So I had seen him in stories too. So I knew that he puffed up. I knew that he had this ice shield, but it's one thing to see it in an RPG when it's just a different state, and it's another thing to experience it as a hunter in a 3D world. And then, so I'm banging on him and trying to break the ice and just getting to know him, and then out of nowhere,
whoa, whoa, he's so big.
Oh my goodness, is it comedic, but it is so unique. And again, how has this not existed in any other Monster Hunter games I've played yet? I absolutely love the idea of a monster that just turns into this big roly-poly thing. I was so intimidated by it. I was running away from it, trying to observe what it's doing. And then I had an aha moment. I'm like, wait a minute, he's big, which means he's probably susceptible to more cut damage now that he doesn't have the whole ice shield. So I run back and I'm like,
oh, for what the frick?
And of course, yeah, I was right. He's a lot weaker when he's in his puff form, but he's rolling around so he can hit you a lot easier. And then he's bouncing and trying to crush you. It's such a fun fight in terms of the range of emotion you feel, because even the range of the character this monster displays. At first he's like, I'm a freaking shark and I've got my shield. Nope, just discard that whole persona to be a blimp. It's such a Batman duality here of, Bruce Wayne and Batman. So Zamtrios ice shield and Zamtrios bouncy boy. Super fun fight. I'm also keeping in mind that everything I'm encountering that's new right now is all low rank. So I expect these monsters are holding back a lot of attacks that I won't really get to appreciate and see until higher rank. But really, I'm expecting the real fight to really be in high rank. These are the tutorials of, oh, here's a new monster. Get a sense of what's happening here.
Bam!
And I'm really looking forward to fighting a Zamtrios in high rank, just to see what it's like, because I like him. But as an ice monster, yes, he's unique. He's more unique than Volcana. But I don't know. I think there will be something I will never be able to replace Volcana with. And I don't think it has anything to do with the fight itself. I think it's just its place in my journey. And for many of you, Zamtrios was probably early on in your journey, and that's why it's so impactful to you. Volcana was one of my early ice monsters with a really unique experience. So we all developed these nostalgia goggles for our favorite monsters and our experiences, because these games are all about the player leveling up. So the thing that you experience when you are a hunter level 10 in the real world is very different than when you experience that at, say, level 7. Let me know what you think about that. Other than that, another thing, I didn't realize the Zamites were so tiny. They come in super mini form, which is adorable. There's a normal Zamite and then really teeny tiny Zamite. Besides that, I also had Basarios unlocked, so I got to fight him. He's a lot more difficult than the version in Rise that I fought. First of all, he's harder, literally harder. Everything bounces off him. I can't find a way to hit him. And I know the charge blade, last time I said, oh, the charge blade doesn't have Mind's Eye, Switch X. You guys corrected me and said, if you have a file, you can do something. I know it's there. I'm just not good enough with the charge blade yet to do it reliably. And this was a problem when I was learning Switch X in World. I didn't know how to play in sword mode, and a lot of you laughed at, why is Jay always playing in freaking axe mode? It's all I knew. And so with the charge blade, I feel like I'm going through that similar progression of learning the weapon. And I absolutely love it. I love that it's taking me a while to learn that, because it makes me appreciate the growth more, it makes me appreciate the weapon more. The last thing I don't know, there's something cheap about picking it up and understanding it in 30 minutes for my own personal taste. I also saw Basarios fly. I don't think I've ever seen him fly in Rise, but here he flew, he just flies off the ground. I was like, this thing can fly? I could see he has wings, but I've never seen him take flight before, so that caught me off guard. I also really like, I don't know if it's in Rise, but in this one he has like a blue like veiny thing on his back, and it looks really good. So like it just makes him look cooler instead of just being a dull gray like rock. And the fact that they make you fight him in the middle of a field of other rocks threw me off, because I know in stories, Monster Hunter Stories 2, that's how you fight Basarios. There's a bunch of rocks and one of them is Basarios. So I was hitting all the rocks and the chat was just like,
What? He's done already?
I can't say that was a fun fight. It was tedious because I just freaking kept bouncing. But I feel at the end I was starting to learn how to use the charge blade to more reliably actually hit him. But I'm not fully there yet. And then the next one that I unlocked, the next monster, is a Najarala, which I was really debating putting as the on the thumbnail of this video. It was hard to pick between Najarala and Zamtrios, because I didn't even know Najarala was a thing. I didn't even know monsters came in snake form in this franchise. This was a monster I didn't even know was in this game. Somehow, it wasn't in Stories 2, so this is the first monster I get to experience that was not spoiled in any way. Like, I just did not know anything about this monster going in. Super cool concept of a fight. And it's so scary when Najarala goes around you, because basically I learned really quickly, because it shows you in the cutscene, you don't want to be in the middle when it surrounds you, because then it squeezes, and I think I got hit once like that, and it takes so much of your health, so you always got to get out. But there's a high risk, high reward. I noticed that it's really weak all over, and when it's coiled inside, you can basically like move your weapon around in every direction and do like just a bunch of damage. So it's like, how long do you stay in the center doing damage versus focusing on getting out so you don't get squeezed. I really like that high risk, high reward thing. It's also got like these explosive shards, made me think of like almost like a rattlesnake that could shoot. And then I got to fight some old friends in this new game, which is the Rathian. So I'm like, all right, let's adjust. Like, Rathian is my default. Like, let's see how good I am against my default favorite monster. She didn't really stand out in any way here, and it was my first time fighting a Rathian with a charge blade, which was pretty interesting to do. And then the Kezu was here, and it just reiterates, because people said, oh, you haven't met Old World Kezu. This is my first time meeting Old World Kezu. And people were telling me Gigginox is better than Old World Kezu. You are blinded, Jay. I have to say, I've experienced Old World Kezu now. So much better than Gigginox. What are you guys smoking over there? Like, it is so much better. I agree, Kezu yells a lot, and that's annoying because you're always like, but Gigginox paralyzes you too, unless you put like the decos on. I think what people don't like, I'm gonna just guess here, is the fact that Kezu has no music. I think there is something unsettling about being alone with your own thoughts as you are methodically killing this poor boy. And I think that makes people uncomfortable, and that's why they like Gigginox. That's my story. That's why I'm sticking to it. You guys just don't like silence, because Gigginox sucks. I've also, so the Monster Hunters I've unlocked, that came after Zamtrios, and I unlocked this like little mini game where you have to pick colors and the Monster Hunters fight a monster, and I was not understanding because it's so unintuitive. Like, red trumps blue. Like, why couldn't they use the Pokemon logic of blue trumps red and red trumps green? Instead, it's like blue trumps red, red trumps yellow. So I lost the first one, and then the second one, when I actually knew what I was doing a little bit better, I actually won. It kind of reminds me of the Rise Meowcenaries, but I really prefer this. The Meowcenaries feels cheap. I don't like just, I have to go check in on this menu every like couple fights, collect my goods, send it away. Like, that just doesn't pull the player in. Whereas here it's, I get to build a little bit more of a bond of a Meowcenary. There's a mini game there. There's something to pull me in. Maybe my tune will change when I'm actually grinding, but at this stage, I'm like, yeah, this is charming. I like this. Thank you. I also learned about the fact that whatever they're called, Monster Hunters or whatever, your Palicos, depending on which one you put in your like lists, classy or your main Palico learns different moves or different skills. That to me is a whole different system that is just wild. I'm like, what? That's how you teach like your Palico how to learn things. So that's a really interesting system that I know almost nothing about. People are just telling me, keep your healer in the second slot so classic can heal you. I'm like, all right, I like that. Let's do it. Other little things. So I've also got an extra cart for my farm, not an extra cart for carting. So my farm has expanded. I really am enjoying doing like these little quality of life updates. And I've learned about the expeditions having treasure rooms. I didn't know about it. And people are like, why aren't you doing expedition treasure room? What are you talking about? Like, yeah, you do you go on expedition. It will say if there's a little bonus for a treasure room. And if there is, you have a chance of getting a unique armor set or a unique armor piece or a unique weapon. And some people were like, oh, it's not worth it in low rank. But others were like, this is the only place you can get it. And like, I like I like that there is this kind of unique set that's available only to those who grind the luck. It's like a luck set, so I like that, but it's also a huge time sink. So I don't know if I'm ever going to actually unlock whatever armor and weapon is available in that whole expedition grind. But as a mechanic, I have to say I like it. I love the amount of mechanics 4U is throwing at me. It's doing it in a way that I can really appreciate. I feel Rise has a lot of mechanics that I either don't care to use, or, well, I mean, I definitely don't care to use, because you guys know I don't use all the mechanics available to me in Rise. I also feel it's introduced a little bit, not as layered, so it's a lot of stuff all at once. And it just lacks charm, honestly. Like, the one thing that I think can really be labeled to Monster Hunter is charm. And as in its quest to find greater mainstream appeal, I feel they might be sacrificing some charm, which is unfortunate. Or locking it behind DLC, which is even more unfortunate. Because that is taking basically the soul out of the franchise and monetizing it. Now, we're not there yet. That's a very extreme metaphor, but I can see a path where that is happening. Like, we're skinning the franchise a little bit and putting it in DLC slightly, which shouldn't be happening. In terms of story, so I have saved Classy, I have saved the aces from Gore Magala. I fought Gore Magala in a much more comfortable environment. He was way better to fight there. And in terms of my next hunts, I think I have been given clearance to actually go out and hunt Gore Magala. Now they respect me. Now I saved their butts. And there's also Lagombi on the menu. I mean, we gotta. So I'll see you on my next update, which should be next, actually it will be in the next journal or in the next stream if you're joining me live as I continue my journey. Over on twitch.tv/RaulDaFama. Hopefully I'll see you there. Otherwise, until next time, keep it classy.